The only movie I
There's
really
nothing
want
else
to
on.
see right now is Grand Theft Hamlet.
I've seen
I
that.
know,
Was it
because
good?
Dustin told us about it. Yeah, that
I
was
saw
when
it
he.
at South by.
Yeah.
It was good?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean,
Okay.
it was a ride. It was fun at times and kind of sad, and I mean, it's like a guy.
Dan, he
like,
literally came back from South by and was like, "I saw a movie you two would love,"
yes,
I don't remember
and told
this.
us all about the movie.
Wow.
Well,
Guess
either
Dan is
way,
drunk.
I do want to see it. So clearly
But
Dustin's propaganda worked.
because you found out about it in other ways.
Well, no, I mean, I also saw, like, I heard about it, I think, around South by. Like, I think it was, like, in the list of, like, stuff that people were, hyped about.
Yeah.
Other people, not Dustin. But
Right. People you
I
trust.
reviewed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you?
All right. I did. I did.
Where?
On Pajiba.com.
Well, as a wise man once wrote, "Fuck Pajiba too."
All right. Welcome to another episode of Pajiba, the Pajiba television podcast. I'm Pajiba comedy editor Dan Hamamura. With me, as always, our Pajiba managing editor Tori Preston.
Hello, Dan.
Hello, Tori. And he's the purveyor of Helly's Lies, Dustin Rolls.
I'm the actual Helly's Lies. I don't purvey anything.
You're
I
the
am
Helly's Lies. How does that make any sense, Dustin?
You're the
Doesn't have
night
to make
gardener.
sense to you. Yes.
All right.
Hello, Dan. Hello, Tori.
Hello. It's week 2 of our brand new format, which we'll definitely stick with for hundreds of episodes.
It's the same format, only we talk about news a little bit. And I'm trying
Instead
to
of
make
you quizzing us on news.
Right. And I'm trying to make the television conversations a little more directed.
Right.
Yeah, I liked looking at our list today. It's really impressive in the scope that you think we're going to be able to cover.
Yeah.
But also part of that's because you want to talk about Frasier.
Right. Well,
that show is from so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, yes. But like I told my wife that Frasier was canceled and she had no idea that there was another Frasier.
That's the point.
And she was like, how is it possible to have another Frasier because John Mahoney is dead?
Yeah. I think that's what everyone thought.
Yeah.
Well, he just had a son who's a firefighter instead of a dad who was a cop. But it was the same dynamic. And it was not terrible. I enjoyed it.
So
Did
are
you
you
ever
sad
watch
that
it,
it's
Dan?
canceled?
Yeah, I watched some of season 1. It was fun.
It was a nice 25 minutes. I enjoyed it. It seemed like it do well. Why wouldn't anybody want to watch Frasier? They're watching
because we did watch
the
Frasier
Tim Allen
in the
show.
90s.
I know, but people still watching Tim Allen.
I think that they were a little bit hamstrung by the fact that they were a Paramount Plus show and not not a like it very much was a network show that CBS should have just made, like if they were going to do it, they should have just made room for it.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have done better. I genuinely think it would have done better as a network show that then also, was on Paramount Plus or whatever.
But it also shouldn't have been on Paramount Plus. It should have been on Peacock. Like in the sense that I'm sure it was a Paramount produced show, but it was an NBC show.
Right.
Like it should have aired on NBC and been on Peacock.
Right. But in any event, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
they
maybe
got 2 seasons.
They said that they're going to shop it, so maybe it'll end up on Peacock or NBC.
I mean, but I do agree. Like, I'm assuming the Tim Allen show airs like on a channel, right?
Yes, but wasn't it like the most popular show on Peacock or Paramount? I forget. It's like it was the biggest streaming comedy ever for Paramount, I think.
You mean Frasier?
No,
Tim Allen show.
which nobody knows. What is
Isn't
the title
that
of that
Fox?
Oh, then how is the biggest streaming ever?
So it would stream on Hulu.
Oh, that's what it was. The Tim Allen sets major streaming record for ABC. Yeah, it must have been
ABC. Well, ABC is also Hulu.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh. It was a huge show for Hulu. I watched it, and it's not very good. The Frasier show is much, much better. But yeah. I didn't have to tell you.
But the Frasier show didn't have the what is Kat Dennings doing and why doesn't she have better luck with roles? Like that question is what drives.
Great luck with roles because she gets on these shows that run forever.
Yeah, I mean, she's making bank, but you always kind of feel bad for her. Like, I feel like you deserve more. Maybe she doesn't, but
the person that I didn't expect on there was on the Tim Allen show is the Stifler, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like a mechanic.
Well, maybe he wants to get some of that network money.
I guess so. I mean, everybody wants the network money.
Dustin, as was your Frasier?
It's not as bad as you think it should be.
Right.
And that's really kind of the problem. Because it is kind of political, but they do a decent job of like Kat Dennings is the liberal and he's the conservative and they just give each other shit in a pretty even-handed way.
Yeah.
It's not all Tim Allen.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense because the one thing about Tim Allen's like kind of sweet spot as like in terms of like Home Improvement or whatever, like he'll be the bonehead, but like that's the joke. He doesn't win the arguments.
Right.
Like he might not lose, but he has to kind of be wrong.
Right.
Yes.
So, well.
Anyway, it's a stupid laugh track sitcom, and Frasier's a smart laugh track sitcom. Well, not smart.
And Frasier got canceled.
The farce is still there.
They had a live studio audience, Dustin.
Okay, whatever. It felt canned a little bit.
Very different.
I don't know.
Their audience was terrible.
Maybe that's
that was the problem.
Dustin, was bringing up Frasier your way of because you wanted to talk about the Tim Allen show, and you didn't want to write it down.
It did work well because both are like Republican TV actors.
Yeah.
What is the Tim Allen show called?
Shifting Gears.
Shifting Gears.
Yes.
Terrible title. Who do you think got paid more?
Mechanic.
Kelsey Grammer or Tim Allen?
Tim Allen, because he was coming off of another pretty successful sitcom that ran for like 7 seasons with, I want to say Patricia Heaton and Caitlin Dever.
Yeah. Well, also his is actually on air.
He and Patricia Heaton were in a, Home Improvement.
Patricia Heaton? I was thinking, no. Okay, he was in a sitcom with a woman from Everybody Loves Raymond. Who's that? Raymond's wife. No, not Everybody Loves Raymond. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Wait. Hang on.
No, she was the mom in Middle. Not in the middle.
Everybody,
the middle.
No. You know what? You're right.
Okay.
Well, she was on both.
Confusing my head. Okay.
I was thinking of Patricia Richardson, who was on Home Improvement.
Okay.
Patricia Heaton was on Everybody Loves Raymond and The Middle and Carol's second act.
Wait, Carol's second act was... No, that's not the name of the Tim Allen show.
No, but that was Patricia Heaton's show.
Oh, okay. What was the Tim Allen show that was before this one?
I don't know.
He had another wife, I thought, in that one. Or maybe he was a single... I don't know.
I don't think she was on that show, Dustin, now that I'm looking at the credits.
Well, can we look up Tim Allen? Because what was the name of that show?
Patricia Heaton was in the second season of Frasier. As a bartender.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Frasier now.
I know.
Wait, so you...
But
Last Man Standing.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Was the multi-season show with Tim Allen. Nancy Travis played his wife.
Nancy Travis from So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yes, but she's neither Patricia.
No, she's not. That is right. But she's
But
very
wait, I
much
love that Patricia Heaton is not in the show you thought she was, and is not the person you thought she was, but was actually in Frasier, the show we were originally supposed to be talking about.
Yes.
This has been a trip. Anyway, Frasier's canceled.
No one cares.
Yeah, Frasier's canceled. No, but this is good. This is the version of our show that I think where we thrive, where we have only a moderate at best understanding of what's going on. But
if we were prepared for this conversation, it would be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it would be much less.
Yeah, nobody would care about that. Yeah.
So okay, all right. Well, we need to end this, but I'm just really. I feel like I bet.
What are you stuck on?
No. I'm just stuck on. I think if Kelsey Grammer got paid less, maybe they would have Maybe they wouldn't have canceled Frasier.
Possibly. I don't think he got paid that much.
My question is,
why would it be canceled?
But I think he was a co-creator? Or was he just an EP?
I think Dan is right. It said on Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus is sort of the Taylor Sheridan network. Although Stallone did well. I mean, it's doing well with like conservative leaning, but Frasier's not really a conservative show. It's actually a pretty smart show that just happens to feature a conservative lead actor.
Well, yeah, but the people who watched it all. I mean, that's it. It's like, I don't know that the NBC Thursday night audience is necessarily on Paramount Plus.
No.
So, and nobody's going to watch Frasier unless they used to watch Frasier. I don't know. I just think it's kind of maybe Peacock will.
A lot of people who used to watch Frasier would refuse to watch this because it's not the Frasier.
Yeah. I mean, Night Court is still doing okay for Peacock, right?
But Night Court is also on NBC.
It is also on NBC. Yes. Why would they not air it? Why? Like, that's the thing.
I think it was just for whatever reason, CBS, the network, didn't pick it up. Maybe they didn't have the room for it.
Or it was just too confusing because they didn't air the original?
I don't think anybody cares about that part.
You don't think? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to find what comedies Paramount Plus currently has.
Did you watch Night Court, Dan?
I don't know if I'm caught up on it, but I've been.
I watched like the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about. And I was like, this is enough.
Well, the other thing is that Paramount Plus doesn't really have. I'm just looking at their programming right now, or a list of their programming, and they don't have very much in terms of comedy. Generally,
no, it's Taylor Sheridan and Star Trek.
Yeah. So it already was kind of a weird outlier for them. Yeah.
Although they do have that Patrick Bramhall, Helen Dwyer series. The dog, the accountant dog. Oh, come on. I love it.
What?
Colin from Accounts.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, that's an Australian show that they're just paying for.
Yes. Fantastic, though. Everyone should watch it. Next topic, Dan.
I'm supposed to address what the next topic is?
You're running the show, Dan.
I run the show. I don't write the rundown anymore. What's everyone drinking? We skip that.
Run the show. Okay, let's skip that.
Dustin, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the same thing I had last week, only instead of drinking it out of what did I drink it out of last week? What was
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup. I'm drinking it out of a mason jar. Yeah, grapefruit juice.
Were you afraid I would make fun of you if you were drinking it out of a Stanley, or?
No, that wasn't it.
You just because it's going to get warm if it's in that mason jar, unless you drink it really fast
and then get another one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vodka, and there was 2 seltzers and grapefruit juice in that mason jar.
Mason jars holds a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm having another one of my the Dogfish Head cocktails. I have almost made it my way through the 8-can mix pack, whatever thing. And I will say, this is like they taste like candy. So there's more alcohol per can. They're 2 shots. I think the other brand was like 1.5 shots. And they all taste like candy, which is kind of great. Like, I actually think I prefer this brand more, except that it's incredibly dangerous.
Oh, that's true.
The other ones I just don't necessarily want to drink all the time. These, I'm like, I could just drink them whenever. I'll just have one a night.
If Juan wasn't like buying you things from Trader Joe's and you could just have like your ideal drink, what would it be?
I don't even know anymore. Like, I would go to a bar and probably order a Paloma. But also, like, I like whiskey stuff too. So I like going to bars and seeing what. Yeah, I love a good Paloma. I like a good Paloma, and I like a good sometimes like a whiskey cocktail if the bar has like a good one. But yeah, I don't have like a favorite drink. I just like going to bars and having. So it's like why the canned cocktail thing has been, because it's like it's not the same as going to a bar, but it's also like it feels like a little bit more of an adventure than just like opening a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go to a bar and get a beer, and it's the same as having a beer at home. There's no difference.
I don't know. I think beers taste better in bars.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah. But I am not above the occasional cocktail. I will never have more than one cocktail at a bar. I'll have a cocktail and then start drinking beers.
If you drink a cocktail of a mason jar.
No, I'm talking about at a bar. I don't.
At a bar?
At a bar. Please give me a cocktail out of a mason jar.
Oh my God. I went to a bar a couple weeks ago, like, it was around the holidays. So like a bunch of my high school friends were in town and I met them, but it was like the middle of the afternoon. And I met one of them at this place called like Mad Taco or something like that in Middlebury. It's a taco joint. I'd never been. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. They just opened. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll get some like a taco or something. And I got a Paloma. I ordered a Paloma. And they made it in a pint glass, which I'm not used to getting a tequila cocktail in a pint glass. And like there was plenty of ice, but like not enough to cover, right? And so I'm looking, and so he like hands it to me, and I look at the bartender, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's a huge cocktail." And he's like, "Well, if it makes you feel any better, I also added entirely too much tequila to it. Anyway, drink up. I expect you to finish it." And I was like, "It is 4 p.m, and I have to drive an hour to get home." So anyway, I drank it all and had to order food.
That bartender knew what he was doing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, very smart.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. But wow, a lot of cocktail.
And what are you drinking, Dan?
I'm still drinking 1792 bourbon, just because that's what's available, and I did not go to the market this weekend. Not that I probably would have forgotten to buy alcohol anyway, because I like self-checkout. So even though I know there are like ethical problems with self-checkout, maybe because I don't know.
But also ethical problem. Is that a thing now?
Well, it's taking away jobs.
Okay, but I don't know where you live, but where I live, there's never enough checkers because they can't hire them enough.
Right, but are there never enough checkers because there's self-checkout or because they don't have enough people? Or both?
I think it's because they don't have enough people. I don't know. Also, I was a cashier for 4 years and it sucks. It's just a really, like, I didn't mind like the public interfacing part of it, although it's just standing for 8 hours. It's really kind of, even when I was like 20, it's really like hard on your body standing. Anyway, you said that you watched the Detroit playoff game.
A little bit.
And that was the one game that I could not watch this weekend because I have cut the cord many years ago But at this point, I can watch all the games, even without Red Zone. I can watch all the playoff games except for Fox, because they're either on Peacock, Paramount, or ESPN Plus. But the Super Bowl is on Fox this year, and if I weren't going to Super Bowl party, I would be worried, except that they're putting it on Tubi.
I was wondering how you were going to get to that Tubi.
There you go.
Fact.
So now, Tori, you don't have an excuse not to watch the Super Bowl this year.
Except, as I was telling Dan earlier, when you sent us this this agenda to discuss tonight, I had no idea what the bullet point "to be airing the SB" meant until 10 seconds before we started recording. I was like, "Oh, the Super Bowl." Mm-hmm. I knew what Tubi was. I did not know what they were airing. I was like, "What is Dustin talking about?" And then I put it together, and I didn't care anymore.
I seem to recall you played video games during the Super Bowl. Maybe last year or in past years or in some year.
Yeah, usually. I mean, I would occasionally, when I used to go to Super Bowl parties, I would go just to watch, go for the drinking. And I would talk with my friends during all of the playing parts. And then it was like this absolute shift change, because like my friend and I would move into the living room for the halftime show, and everyone else would move out to like eat and drink. It was, yeah. And that was it.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't have cable, you don't have an excuse now not to watch the Super Bowl.
I have a great excuse. Have to watch it. My excuse is that I don't care.
You could always watch it over antenna.
Yeah.
No.
I was telling Tori before we recorded that I signed up for Hulu Live for some college football stuff, to watch some college football. And I told myself, okay, I will keep it through the Super Bowl so I can watch the Super Bowl. And then the day that Tubi /Fox announced that Tubi was going to have the Super Bowl was the day that it was like the 1 month mark where it renewed. So I had already paid for it, so I'm gonna watch Hulu Live, but it's fine.
So you still have a need to have cable because of college football.
Well, I turned it on just for some bowl games and the playoffs.
I see.
I did not. I turned it off during the year.
Weirdly, I actually might use this Tubi angle to because I want to see Kendrick, although it'll just be online later. So maybe I'll just do that. I am interested.
You could watch it live and be a part of the culture.
But the only way to be a part of the culture is to be online during it.
Did you watch Beyonce?
What's the difference? I saw it online.
You didn't watch it on Netflix?
That wasn't even like a playoff game.
That wasn't even, that was just some random Texas game.
It was a big deal. It was like an awesome
Christmas Day is for the NBA, Dustin.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan.
This encroachment of the NFL on everything will not stand.
Yeah.
Also, Fox, for some reason, decided that they didn't want to air the hottest new drama, Rescue High Surf, after the Super Bowl. They changed it to The Floor with Rob on a game show post Super Bowl. They don't know what they're doing. How dare they?
Game show. That's where they're supposed to put one of their blue chip dramas.
Yeah.
Or something Rescue that they want to really launch. Yeah. Wow. Floor.
Anyway, Dustin, what I mean, yeah, obviously Tubi airing the Super Bowl is it is a big deal because it's admittedly it is the first time that you will be able to stream it for free. I think previous years, you had to have whatever streaming. So like when CBS had it, if you had Paramount Plus, you could watch the Super Bowl. But so it is a big deal. It is a big shift. I think we'll see this continue.
I'm unfamiliar with the Tubi app. Like, do they have like Fox as a live channel? Like, is it the like when you go on Paramount Plus, it's you can choose live television and just watch CBS or whatever. Like, can you just watch? Are they airing it live because they're airing the whole channel live, or they have their own special? So will they have all the commercials?
They will probably have the commercials.
So, yes.
Because
it'll be the complete. Yeah.
That's my guess, but
I've never been on Tubi. I always assumed it had just had like hee-haw reruns or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tubi has their live TV is much like a lot of the other like Roku or like Pluto, where they have a lot of like the digital channels that basically program like one thing, or like the game show like Buzzer or Game Show Network, or there are channels that are like just Murder She Wrote, which is honestly is pretty great.
So they might have the hee-haw channel.
I don't know that there's a hee-haw channel, but it definitely could exist, Dustin.
And if it did, it would be on Tubi.
Well, it'd be on all of them, but yeah. There's a channel just for Supermarket Sweep, but like the 90s version, so it's pretty good. We need to get back to when game shows were not about winning like giant sums of money. Like it's like about winning like $5 to $10,000, and it's normal people who just like drove up from Irvine for the day, to be on this game show, and they're not like, they don't have like this sob story to
I feel like you're shading Mr. Beast.
Oh, I don't know. What does Mr. Beast do? Other than mistreat people.
You not watch the Mr. Beast show?
No.
Neither one of you?
No. Did you?
It's so like, I watch it. It's like terrible and awful and completely impossible not to watch. Because it's real fucking life Squid Games, except they don't die. It's so cruel and so manipulative and so awful, and you just can't stop.
I have a lot of other international versions of The Traitors for that.
Yeah.
Dustin.
Well, I mean, but I will say the Squid Games is not that dissimilar from the physical or I don't know what any of those shows that start with like 1,000 people.
They start with 100 people, Dustin.
Yes,
it's literally called Physical 100.
But yeah, I know. But Mr. Beast starts with 1,000, and when you have that many people, you just have to do these random games to get rid of like all of them. And you never get to know anybody because it's just about the game and people crying when they
That's what I don't understand. What if you just didn't start with 1,000 people? Like,
then
it's not
wouldn't be
hard.
The same.
Whatever. Do they have a giant pig filled with money?
Yes.
Wait, Mr. Beast's show actually literally does have a giant pig filled with money?
Not a pig, but they have a giant thing. It's $5 million is the prize. But it's not just $5 million. He gives away like $500,000 every episode. Or actually, last episode he gave a $1.8 million island away. And
what are you going to do with? I mean, I would love to have an island, but like,
sure.
What are you going to do with it? Is there a house on it? Are you going to have to pay to build a house? Are you going to have to buy the boat?
Well, there was
to
a
get
house
you there?
on it.
Feels like you're getting screwed on taxes.
Yeah, probably.
You might not. Depends.
Poor one.
I always think about like, where is the island? Because if it's in a lake that freezes over, like you got to figure out what to do when the lake freezes.
Could be like in the middle. I think people are just going to sell the damn island. And even the woman who won is like, I'm going to sell it. But part of winning was she had to play like, the game was like hide and seek with some Navy SEALs.
And she won against the Navy SEAls?
Well, she didn't lose. Somebody else lost, and then they had another game and another game. And it was mostly random chance where everybody was like, I'm going to win because I'm the best. And you're like, it doesn't matter how good you are. It's a fucking game of chance.
I don't really know much about Mr. Beast. I've never really watched his stuff. All I know is that people did not like his whatever branded food he put into like Walmart.
Yes.
It was like Lunchables.
Yeah, like a Lunchables.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All I know is like, and this is, look, I don't want to be superficial, but we used to have like TV stars, right? We used to have people who got by on their looks. This guy makes so much money. And like, I don't know, maybe he has a great personality.
No, he doesn't. He has no personality whatsoever.
I'm like, couldn't we just have like, I want, like, I'm not just eye candy, but like, that's when I think about like what I miss. I don't need these internet stars who like are kind of weird looking and like don't have that much charisma, but like because a bunch of people clicked on these like tiny videos, suddenly they make a bunch of money and then they get TV deals. It's like, no, I want people who went, like, got scouted because they were really hot and maybe talented.
This guy,
and they should be hosting shows.
Literally became huge because he counted to 100,000 and taped himself doing it.
It's so
that was
stupid.
How he got his start.
It's so
I know,
stupid.
It's so dumb.
Like,
and he's not hot.
No,
he doesn't deserve this kind
he's
of thing.
He's not ugly. He's just kind of like,
yeah.
My understanding is his superpower has been that like he kind of figured out the best ways to work the algorithm. Like once he got big, he knew better. He figured out better than anyone like some of the what have now become standard YouTube innovations.
Well, yeah. You can make a feel-good story plus giving away a lot of money. I mean, how can you lose?
I mean, not just that. I mean, like in terms of like video length, in terms of editing style, in terms of like thumbnail design, like there's a lot of stuff that people credit to him for definitely, like I think there are a lot of people who imitate him because of what he's managed to achieve.
He really honestly seems like a very innocuous, bland person, like so much less offensive than the other billionaires. He's just kind of like, I don't know.
He just looks like that guy that you never, he kind of just looks like that guy that you never went on a date with in high school, but who like keeps looking you up on Facebook every once in a while. And it's like, I barely remember you. Why do you keep sending me messages?
That makes sense. Yeah.
But like too nice. You're like, you're not going to be mean. You're just kind of like.
Do you still get those messages, Toy?
Sometimes. I had to figure out how on Facebook, you know how like I don't really go on Facebook anymore, but I had to figure out how to turn it because I didn't realize at one point when they split off or like they really invested in Facebook Messenger, like it became its own app and stuff like that. It was this thing where like when you logged in, it would show that you were active. Like when you used to be on like AIM or whatever, and it was like, oh, you're on Instant Messenger or Google or whatever. It shows that you're active and you have to go in and manually be like, do not disturb or something like that, right? I had to figure out how to do that on Facebook. I didn't know it always showed that when I was active, because every time I would log in, I would get these messages from this one guy. And I was like, what? How does he know I'm on right now? And then I was like, oh, duh, there's a status for me. So I had to like turn that off. Anyway, that's why I mostly don't go on Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
He was fine. It was just like, I don't have anything to say, man. I'm just like trying to, I don't know. Anyway, I should probably just delete Facebook, but you know.
You keep, and I keep it, not because I use it, because I don't, but every once in a while you're like, what happened to that person? And you want to have access to an account so you can find out what happened to that person. And then you go to that person's page and it's just like, all you can look at is like from a profile pic from like 7 years ago.
Because they stopped using Facebook. Yeah, they stopped using it. I only use it because occasionally, like, I've literally had to start manually putting people's birthdays into my Google Calendar because I never remember people's birthdays because I was not on Facebook for them to tell me like, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. That was how I always knew people's birthdays. So I've had to like reverse engineer it. And so periodically I'm like, what is that person's birthday? And I go on Facebook, figure it out, and put it on my Google Calendar so that they will remind me and I don't have to go to Facebook for it.
I got a random Alexa message on my phone yesterday telling me a random friend of mine's birthday. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then I texted him. But like, I don't even know how. I have no idea. No clue.
Wait, how is Alexa texting your phone? I thought it was a speaker.
It is, but it like, sometimes it will do like, you know, the messages, the pop-up messages. And I'm like, usually it's to tell you like there's a weather alert or like you have
apparently
a
your friend's birthday was very important.
I guess so. I don't know how it knew or how it knew this friend, but I was like, okay, cool.
Technology.
I know.
And you allow this into your home, Dustin.
Yeah. I do.
Do you have a smart speaker, Dan?
Me? No.
Yeah. No. Never.
I've also never really used like even, I mean, I'm sure it's probably still fucking listening, but I've never used Siri either. Like iPhone is kind of like the one thing that I have that could definitely be listening all the time and probably is, but all of that stuff is theoretically shut off.
I have only accidentally used Siri, in which I mean I've accidentally pushed the button and then Siri will talk to me and I'm like, shut up. Don't want you. Anyway. Yeah. No smart speakers. I have a dumb house.
Mm-hmm. I am actually curious to figure out, like, when this is not now we're getting wildly off topic, but like my car is 20 years old and at some point will have to be replaced by a newer car. But I want my car to be as dumb as possible.
Okay. I have a 2017 that is like just the right amount of smart to dumb.
Okay.
Anything after that is too smart.
Yeah.
Like avoid the freaking you push button start, no key. No. Bullshit. That's I hate that. I hate it. Oh my God, where it has the cameras that will like stop your car if it's getting too close to other things, because then like if your windshield is slightly dirty, that system fritzes, and that's when it's like, this is turned off and now you can't, like, you have to restart your car. We won't let you move, and you're like, what? I hate it.
There's that. There's the there's all the there are a fair amount of cars that have like systems that will track you. Like, I mean, if you use it if you like subscribe to OnStar, then like obviously they can track your vehicle. But like there are a lot where even if you don't subscribe to it, they have been tracking anyway.
Yeah.
All that data, then they sell, and then they were like, "Oops, we're sorry, we got caught. We won't do it anymore." But
right. Well, stop now.
Yeah.
Because you figured it out.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I like my dumb car. It'd be nice if it was maybe hybrid, but other than that, I don't know. That's all I got. Also, it's 20 years old, but it's almost, I don't know. It's gonna run forever. It's my.
You have a 2005?
Oh, 2004. So 21 years.
Damn, it really is. Damn.
Still runs pretty good.
Miles?
I think I'm up to like 215.
God damn.
Nice.
Yeah.
The goal is to get to 250 at least, but
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. The other problem is that it's at the age where there are things that it's not worth fixing anymore. Like there's like the knob for the air conditioner and heater, like to change the temperature, that control, it's funny because I looked it up and apparently that's like a known weak point. So it's not like broken, but it's just like you have to fiddle with it. And
goddamn thing only lasted 20 years.
But no, it broke like a few years ago. But even then, it was like the mechanics were like, I could fix this. It's gonna cost you like $800. So I'm like, it's not worth it. I'll just keep fiddling with it until that doesn't work, and then I'll figure it out. But fiddling with it still works all these years later. So
that's the way to go. Wait, since we're on this tangent, what's up with your Toyota truck, Dustin?
I haven't heard
truck?
Yet. I haven't
still
heard
don't know.
A thing. Nope. It's been there. I think tomorrow will be 2 weeks and he will have had to move it. I think maybe he lost my phone number and I'll probably have to call him.
Yeah, you probably should call him. Well, because I'm like, I hope he doesn't try to be like, I worked on this for 2 weeks and charge you for like 2 weeks worth of mechanic time.
Hey, if he can get it running, I will be happy with that.
I feel like there's a difference between like him. Well, it depends on what it takes to get it running, right? Like there is.
Sure.
Wait, so the mechanic has had your truck for 2 weeks?
Yes.
And you have no idea what's wrong with it?
No.
Because that's what the mechanic is trying to figure out.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
this is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'll probably need to call him this week.
Yeah, you should probably.
David Lynch passed away.
I was wondering when we were going to do our now typical, like, this is a really depressing.
Here's the bummer. Yeah.
But no, he was what, 78? He had a great life.
he had a great life. He was not well. You kind of knew, like, you know, I think the one thing is people are saying it could have been not the wildfires, but like the fires, the air quality, because he had like emphysema from smoking for so like.
I think it was probably the smoking
it was the smoking, but I'm saying he was already, he like had quit smoking because of, you know, and so people are like, oh, it's the fires in LA that I don't know. Yeah, I think it's been interesting because I think like when certain figures pass and it like impacts a lot of people, you get the kind of outpouring of memories. You know, people talking about how they touched their lives, or you know how the work was important. But when you get the collaborators and the like the stories from people who really knew him, and I just think like I can't remember anyone passing where the stories you've heard about them have been as lovely as they have about David Lynch. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it just reinforces like, this was just a guy who like his actors loved him. He was a really unique individual. Every single actor who talks about him ends up doing an impression of him. And it's the funniest thing ever because all of their impressions are identical. Like it's just, he was so singular. Every actor knows exactly how to do his voice. I was watching a clip with Nicolas Cage talking about like going to the Cannes Film Festival for Wild at Heart with David Lynch and like, you know, having to sing Love Me Tender because the president of the whatever of Cannes or whatever, like his wife demanded that Nick Cage sing to her. And Nick Cage was like, I don't want to. And David Lynch was like pounding on the table, like, Nickster, you get on that table and you do it. And they ended up getting the Palme d'Or. So he's like, I like to think that me singing like this to this woman got us the award. I don't know. I just, yeah. And it's, you know, I think everyone, obviously he made a lot of movies, but, you know, I think it's so interesting that Twin Peaks is the thing that most, and it's not interesting. Obviously, Twin Peaks was a network show. So like people who wouldn't have seen Eraserhead or wouldn't have seen, you know, Lost Highway or something like, you know, that the original Twin Peaks was put him on the map in ways that his film career might not necessarily have. Obviously, like Elephant Man, and The Straight Story. Like he's always had movies that kind of brought in new people to his work that he, you know, new audiences that he wouldn't have reached.
But
I think Twin Peaks is one. And I was just thinking about how fascinating, like having a director of his caliber who is as known for television as movies and how rare that is. And to be prolific, you always have a director who does like a pilot episode here and there, or like, you know, maybe has, you know, an HBO series or something, you know, some prestige thing. But like just here was just a network show that this guy did and did it his way. And it changed television. And then he got to do it again on Showtime and do it completely differently in a different way. But I was also thinking about the fact that like all of his shows it's something about the way that he works where, because people are talking about how he's uncompromising in his vision, and there is truth to that, but it's in a way where like it's in some ways the format doesn't matter, or it's not that it doesn't matter, but like Twin Peaks, like I watched a cut of Twin Peaks that was a movie. Like there was a point where like not sure if it was going to get picked up. He did a version of the pilot where there was a different ending. I think Ben Horn, it was either Ben Horn or Jacques Renault was the killer. But it's like you're watching the whole pilot episode and then all of a sudden there's just this like half hour that wraps it up and you're like, what? And it was sold internationally. It was like, here is the movie version. And that's what Mulholland Drive was. Mulholland Drive, the movie, is the movie he made off of a pilot that wasn't picked up. So like if you're watching the movie and it seems really like kind of straightforward for most of it, and then about 3/4 in is where it really like the turn happens and it gets weird. that's the point at which it was like, oh, they're not picking up this show. I need to wrap it up and turn it into a movie. And he tacks on that ending.
Yeah.
And so I always kind of like that about like his TV and movies, where like he had movies that were supposed to be TV shows. He's done TV shows, and people talking about Twin Peaks: The Return, like it getting listed as like the best movie of 2017 or whatever. And it's an 18, hour television show, which always really drove me nuts. Cause as we talked about at the time, it is a television show. It has to be a television show. It could not be a movie.
Yeah.
But it also kind of doesn't matter because David Lynch is going to express himself in, the vision is the same no matter how he can get it out into the world.
Right.
So
there was one other thing that came up this week that in like all of the tributes and everyone just like, very, writing about Lynch and his career and what he did, that I really kind of like appreciated was there was a Vulture piece that talked specifically about his commercial work. And it's great, one, because his commercials were often just as good as his movies and TV shows. Like they're just as Lynchian.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of a nice reminder. Like I think without hitting you over the head with it, it's a reminder of like, this is someone who got to have the career that he wanted and got to do the things he wanted. But this is also the price. I mean, he still made it his own, but part of that was to make money. He made commercials, and he made commercials that he wanted to make, and, they would let him do it. But that's like, he had for as much as like he is like one of the purest artists within TV and film, it's like, no, he understood the commerce side just as much.
Yes.
And he also made it work for himself.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And I like that because that's a lot of like, it's I don't know, it's something that I think gets overlooked. And I mean, like, I have a friend who is a director who, I know has directed commercial, and like, you never know who directs a commercial, right? But like, I was like, you do like TV and film, like, why do you direct commercials? And he said, honestly, one, it's practice. Being on a set is being on a set, and the other thing is, a movie can take years, and so even if you get it made, so you got to make money in the meantime.
In the meantime, yeah. Well, I mean, it's also like we had that whole generation. I mean, I figure people don't really. I feel like we're talking about this like somewhat recently. Like, are there any memorable music videos now? But like, there was a time when a lot of the directors were people that like they started making music videos and then graduated to like making movies and television stuff like that. Like, there's always been that crossover, which is very commercial. And doesn't mean that they don't care about music videos or don't care about, whatever, but it's, you hone your skills, you get practice, shorter shoots, you get the paycheck, you can do your, it's no different than actors going. I mean, we have actors that will go and shoot a Nescafe, commercial in Japan or something like that. It's
or just here now.
Or just here.
Because they'll just so many big names in commercials now.
Yeah. But no, that's absolutely true. Like David Lynch did some amazing commercial work. So that was a bummer.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up, Dustin.
Yeah. Also, you didn't offer your thoughts on Lynch, Dustin. So
as much as I did not like Twin Peaks: The Return, which I ended up appreciating more than I thought I would.
Yes.
I suffered, but I also appreciated it. I did like Lynch. I liked the first Twin Peaks. I was the kid that watched his movies a lot when I was like 13 and 14 because it was like a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
So I knew like Eraserhead and Blue Velvet, and I enjoyed them more than I think then than I would now. Weirdly.
That could be. I'm really glad that I know it was not always fun for you, but I am actually like really glad that we watched Twin Peaks: The Return.
I am too.
It was nice to go back to it.
He felt like, even for somebody, he felt very relevant, and I don't know if it's because we had just watched it, or he just David Lynch, and he just still feels very relevant.
I think it's both. I think he, it's so funny because like compared to Spielberg or some of the other guys who've just made so many movies. It's like, it's not, Lynch was prolific, but in a way that like, but because he was that kind of artist that was going to be making art no matter what. Like I remember watching a documentary about his painting work at one point, and he would make these crazy paintings where he would like shellac pieces of beef onto a canvas and let it half rot with maggots and then like clean it off, you know, like, I mean, he was always pushing, you know, he made music, he made whatever, like he was prolific. It wasn't just like, if you just look at his IMDb credits, you're not necessarily getting the full scope of him. But I think that because of that, he always felt very relevant, because we don't have that many, like, I mean, there are plenty of directors or writers or whoever who are artists, but there was something about Lynch that was just always, to me, very singular. And he didn't need to have made a project in, you know, the last 5 years or something for me to still feel like he's relevant now.
I would also say that, you know, not to advance topics, but Severance feels very Lynchian. And this first episode back, honestly, felt very Lynchian because there was a lot of like weird, unexplained shit.
Okay. No, because I saw some of your questions. I will go back. So this is one of the other things. I don't think that just having things that you don't understand makes it Lynchian, because
no, I know. But,
and I'm not trying to be insulting, but just because you have questions doesn't mean it's. But no, I do think like what you're pointing out is, I would say the questions that you have, I think, are the questions you're supposed to have, and they're not supposed to be answered right now. And they are the questions that we will be finding the answers to this season. So I think what you're picking, the fact that the questions that you have specifically, which we can get to, I'm just going to preface by saying, I think that just means that you got exactly what you were supposed to from this episode, which is what's going on like, here. Why is that a big gap? But yeah, I mean, I think that maybe there's some elements of the premise that you could argue. I would say, like, stylistically, I don't think it's quite Lynchian. I would love to see Lynch's version of Severance.
Dustin, was La Brea the Lynchiest show that you've ever seen?
No.
So many questions, Dustin.
Many questions. But so what questions did you have with the Severance?
My biggest question with the Severance premiere is the 5 month gap. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, what happened to those 5 months? Why? How did they find each other after those 5 months?
Okay. How they found each other is because Lumen put them together. So again, the season premiere only focuses on the innies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that 5 month gap was a gap lived by the outies, which means they never went back inside Lumen. So we don't know, like that's part of the question. We have heard a kind of version, like Lumen's sort of version of what happened, which is that, you know, they were whistleblowers. Clearly news got out. They saw the newspaper. There was some kind of drama as they negotiated whether or not they would go back in. We don't know why that took 5 months. Mm-hmm. We don't know that Lumen is telling the truth, but the whole thing is that the innies have no way of knowing because they are no longer connected to their, like, we don't know what their outies experienced. We will discover that, I'm sure, as the season goes on.
But they were asleep for 5 months.
They were essentially asleep. They were. So we saw when they were awake in the outside world, that was the season finale. And then it's them waking up back in Lumen. Mm-hmm. They have not, to them, there was no 5 months. So,
okay. But then they met at the same time, and Adam Scott's character knew to meet them then and was like waiting on them. At the elevator.
Because that's where they work. So it was not necessarily. So he basically backed Lumen into a corner. We don't know why Lumen listened or what. Mm-hmm. Like, Lumen was clearly kind of lying, because Lumen was trying to say that of the four, Adam Scott's character, Mark, was the only one that wanted to go back, to have their innie go back to work. So the first thing that they told him was like, the other ones, that they don't want to come back to work here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lie, because if they didn't want to come back to work, they wouldn't have been able to then get them to come back to work. So something was going on. I think they were actually probably just stationed separately. They tried to break the group up.
Mm-hmm.
Mark did his whole,
talk to the board,
to the board, like run through his whole like kind of protest thing. I don't know why that would work. And again, I think we're going to figure this out, but whatever happened, it was enough for them to actually like concede to put them all back together.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because if I'm remembering correctly, he did that. He got marched to the elevator, went in, and then next time he comes out, and the next time he comes out, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm still here."
Right.
What's gonna happen? Like, I don't think he knew that they were gonna come out of the elevator. I think he was just hoping.
He was hoping, and I think he was just kind of confused. Like, what do I do now? I just got fired. Why am I here? And then, like, shortly thereafter is when the other ones start arriving. So he didn't really have a chance to like.
He was just hoping that they'd show up, like 2 days after he started showing up.
But well, no, again, we don't actually know the gap between when he was marched to the elevator and when he came back out after that. Like when he thought he went to the elevator thinking he was fired.
Right. It could be another time jump if we need it to be.
Could have been a week. It could have been, we have no idea. And I don't think he knew they were going to be there when he came back out of the elevator. I think he was confused. And if you watch, like the elevator dings so close, like he's barely out of the elevator before the doors open again.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't really have time to like have wandered off. He's just still sitting there like, what do I do now? I thought I just got fired. Why am I here? And then once the first, who is it? Is it Dylan comes out first?
Yeah, I think so.
And so then and then it's Irv.
Yeah.
And that's once both of them, then he starts waiting for Helly.
Yeah.
So
okay, so presumably we'll find out what their Audis were doing.
Yeah,
during those 5 months at some point.
Well, yeah, I think we will because I think we have to because we know that Helly lied.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yes, but we sort of understand why Helly lied. She just doesn't want them to know that she's the daughter of the
owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's the daughter of the owner is like clearly that's why that's the whistleblowing that was effective. Like she's the one that really got this. So whatever happened in that 5 months is probably because of her. So I think that's where I'm like, I think that lie is going to be important because like I don't know that she can necessarily continue covering that up. I don't know. I'm very curious. I don't know how this is all going to. I don't know why they're all there.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, the other questions we had, like, where's Mrs. Cobell and the 8-year-old? I understand that those are weird things that are happening and that we're not supposed to answer. But I just didn't know if I was missing something.
You definitely were not. Yeah. Where Mrs. Cobell is, like, we're going to figure that out. I think that's because we haven't. Didn't she take off with the baby? Did we see them get the baby back from her?
Yeah. She didn't actually leave with the baby.
She didn't actually leave with the baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't
thought she did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I rewatched the last episode beforehand just in case.
I don't think that this doesn't feel like the kind of move that they would do. So I'm hoping that they don't. But when the child showed up as the assistant, my first thought was like, oh, is this his kid with his supposedly dead wife?
That would be
like, is this them doing that to fuck with him even more somehow? But
that would be insane. Yeah,
but I don't think the timeline tracks because his wife hasn't been dead for that long.
Yeah.
Or dead for that
long. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It was weirdly I mean, there are questions, but I felt like it was kind of a weirdly straightforward episode.
Yeah.
Because it was basically just, all right, we need to get everyone back together.
Yeah.
So.
And especially it's like the 5 months time jump, but like we also have been waiting for like 3 years. So I think it couldn't be that. it was weird to be like, I feel like the show couldn't just hit the ground running because they had to get us back up to speed, even though the episode literally hit the ground running with that huge like running sequence with Mark. So, but yeah, I think it did need to kind of slow things down, keep it focused back on, just the innies, and start laying that groundwork.
Yeah. I have a question, because I didn't know this until it came up later. So in the opening sequence when he was running, did either of you know that he was running to find his wife?
Yeah, just because he was running, I didn't know it for most of it, but then when eventually he finds the door he's trying to find, and it's the wellness center.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to figure it out, because when he opens it and he's looking around and it's not, because it's been taken apart, it took me a second to realize like what it was supposed to be. But it was her office.
Yeah. Okay. Because I didn't get that until often you can over-explain stuff in TV, but I was actually glad that it came up when the four of them are all trading intel.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that's what he was chasing. Like I didn't recognize it at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I did recognize it, but it took me a minute to figure it out because the room looked so different. But then I was like, oh, I think that's supposed to be wellness. I think he's looking for her.
Yeah.
Because of course that's the last thing.
Right.
He had just seen the photo and then was trying to like.
Yeah. Oh wow, we hit our hour. Did you recognize Keanu Reeves?
I would not have if I hadn't heard about it. The cameo separately.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have. Although knowing it was him, I immediately was like, oh, that's Keanu's voice.
Yeah, I feel like you could hear it knowing, but it was enough of a voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't know who it was. I had avoided anything, but I had just heard Keanu has a cameo. So I didn't. So I was waiting for Keanu to show up. And then when that video started, I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's his voice. Like that's the cameo. He's not going to be on screen.
Dustin, did you recognize Sarah Sherman?
No. Wait.
Where was Sarah Sherman?
She's the sign that like talks to Keanu the building in the video. So she only has like one line.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like now if you heard it again, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's Sarah Sherman.
Yeah. My God. And Aaliyah Shawkat, like
yeah.
I hope presumably Bob Balaban, like I hope.
I feel like you don't cast such big people unless they're going to come back at some point, but I don't know.
Right.
I can sort of see casting her as sort of a throwaway fun cameo, but not him. Bob Balaban. I mean, he's
Bob Balaban say, "Why are you a child?" was pretty perfect.
As of when I was born.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy the show is back.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
But lots of questions.
Dustin, by the way, the duck quacked while you were away. I don't know if you heard it.
Okay. But I did not. Yeah, we should probably wrap it up. I just want to say that Boston Rob really, he went way too early. I mean, it was a great move, but you do that like 5 episodes, 6 episodes from now. He's just shot himself in the foot way too soon.
I think he'll probably... I don't think he will win. Like, I don't think he can make it to the end just because of who he is, like, reputationally. But I think that I disagree only in the sense that, like, I think people have made the mistake of letting, like, the trader who is starting to drop hints, letting them hang around too long so that when you cut them, people are like, who suddenly turned on them? Why did they turn on them? Oh my God, they were dropping hints toward this person. And I think, even though it probably is too early, I think that he knew that, or he knew that that's how other people have played, and thought, you know what, if someone even starts to hint at me, I just need to try to take him out.
Yeah.
Plus, he had like enough people, obviously, on his side who were willing to enough faithful who were suspicious to do it.
Right.
So wait, Boston Rob is a traitor.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
the most obvious thing. Like, why?
So what happened was, I don't remember if we described this last week, but they brought in all the people before they announced who was going to be. So this is when they first arrived. Before they announced who's going to be a traitor or faithful, they say, "Oh, there's one extra player here," and he's like in a hood and a mask, and they reveal him, and it's Boston Rob, and they say like, "Here's your like opening twist is you can let him in the game, but someone else has to go." So if anyone volunteers, you can volunteer to like say like, yes, I want Rob in the game, but then you have to choose who you're cutting. And no one let him in, so he was gone. And then so he was out for like an episode or 2 episodes, maybe an episode and a half.
Episode, yeah.
But then what they reveal at the end of, by the time they're in like episode 2, I guess, they reveal that it's not just Rob, but there's Rob and 2 other people, 2 other reality show vets who are all, one from Big Brother, one from The Challenge, who are all they're all going to be let into the game. So they bring in 3 new people late into the game, but then one of them enters as a traitor. And they didn't say that, but Rob was the one who entered as a traitor.
Yeah.
So even the traitors didn't know that they were going to have another traitor until he arrived. So no one knows that one of them was a traitor, although people definitely suspect. Like even among the 3 of them, like the others are like, I feel like one of us has to be a traitor.
Yeah.
But
Boston Rob did do something that nobody's done in the American version, maybe in that, which is like he went after a traitor just for strategic reasons, not because. I mean, he just went after one of his fellow people. And if he'd failed, it would have created so much tension, I think.
Yeah.
And I was half rooting for him to fail because then he would have to sit with the other traitor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he went after him because he felt like he was dropping hints.
Right. Well, yeah.
Which whether he was or not, I feel like it's borderline, but
yeah.
My guess is that he also felt like there was heat. There was enough heat for him to pull it off. Yeah. I don't think he even attempts it unless he thinks he has the votes beforehand.
And there's enough heat because weirdly, like the smartest player this season is Zac Efron's brother.
But he's in that seat of like, there's always one player who is smart, who has a good read but is not influential.
Right.
And that's him so far.
Yeah.
There's also always one person who's clueless as to what's going on, and Tom Sandoval is that this season. Last season it was Kevin Kreider from
oh my God. Tom Sandoval really is like a joy to watch, and Rocky wrote about it over in Vulture.
Yeah.
Just so bad at this game and oblivious, and he's such a villain in real life that it's fun to watch him be so fucking terrible at this game. I hope he makes it to the end just because he's such an idiot.
I think he'll probably end up with like the Ryan Lochte, Kevin Kreider exit because they both occupied this role in their seasons, but where it's like no one ever is gonna imagine that they're a traitor, so they just, when they have to like cut someone in the middle, they're just gonna be like, I don't know, there's no heat on this person, let's just get rid of him.
Yeah.
But typically, because I think they thought he was going to be such a he is a villain in real life that he would draw a lot of heat, but he's just so dumb.
Yeah.
He's so clearly out of his depth in this
game.
game.
He's also kind of like, he's not really in any like strong alliances because there are people who know his ex and who are friends with his ex, so like they're not going to work with him, and he's not part of any of the like competition reality cliques, so he's not
met each other in other ways.
So
but it is funny, they started with 4 housewives and 4 survivor players, and 2 of each are gone already. Is that right?
So breaking up the cliques.
Yeah.
Wait, how many survivor? I thought only Tony's gone.
Jeremy.
Oh right, Jeremy got murdered. I forgot.
Yeah.
That was a bummer because I really like Jeremy.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
He's actually kind of like the survivor player who I'm kind of surprised he was able to win, because he's fairly genuine.
Yeah.
Like he's like he doesn't seem like, he actually doesn't seem like the kind of person who could win Survivor. At least not now. I mean, I know his win was a decade ago at this point, but
right. They had him and like Yule, who was just like really good.
Yule's season was so weird, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the race war season, so it's already amazing. And and also Yule kind of ran the show.
Yeah,
it was just such a mess that like Yule could win, but yeah, like any other season, like Winners at War, Yule shows up and they're like, he's too fucking smart, we got to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Also, he was old school, and the new school players were all working against the old school players. So, Dustin, Survivor Australia, the next season starts in February, so it's coming up.
Oh, I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
Saying,
and that's the one. It's going to have poverty in it.
No, that's not the All-Star. No. So the All-Star season is going to be later this year. They've already filmed it, but they're gonna. This is just their regular season. Okay. But their regular season, I don't know. Survivor Australia, it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. We can make sure that everyone can watch it, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we should probably get out of here. Yeah. That's the show. We'll be back next week. I don't think Mythic Quest will be back yet. I think it's 2 weeks for us.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what you guys are watching.
Or Severance.
St. Dennis Medical.
Can't watch Silo because it ended.
I'm too far behind on Silo.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, you didn't finish story?
Oh, I did. I just mean it's over, so now I can't watch any more of it.
Okay, well, damn it. We didn't get to that question.
No.
I'm curious what you think, but okay. Never mind.
We can talk offline.
Sure.
Wait, was this only season 2 of Silo or season 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't feel as bad then. I can still catch up.
You can catch up. It was good.
Yeah. I mean, I've still got For All Mankind on my list, and
no, that's a fucking phenomenal show. You should fucking skip everything and just watch that show.
And Slow Horses is on that list.
Oh my god, so good.
And The Americans is on that list. So
you haven't? Oh my.
I've never seen The Americans, Dustin.
It's a prestigious list. I haven't seen it.
Oh my god.
I hear good things. I don't know.
Yeah, you have.
There was a moment over the holidays where I was like, I have nothing to watch. Maybe I should start Justified.
Oh
my god, that would have been so good.
Like, what if I just started watching it on my own and was like, hey guys, you don't even get to
have you heard of this show, Justified? Turns out
you would watch like 3 episodes and you wouldn't be able to stop.
I know. That's in my back pocket for like someday I'm going to just pull the trigger and be like, now is the time for me to do this binge because I know I'm going to be obsessed. I just need to have like the space in my life to do it.
Yeah. Maybe I should restart Justified. I don't know. I have too many other things I'm rewatching. Good night.
Good night.